Fireworks night at Safeco Field, a full house expected. Gorgeous night to be at the ballpark here in downtown Seattle. So glad you could join us, as always, for Mariners baseball on Root Sports as the Mariners open up this 3-game weekend series against the first place Houston Astros. Aaron Goldsmith alongside Mike Flowers. And Mike, how about a look at the starting lineup from A.J. Hinch tonight of the Astros?
Thank you, Aaron. Leading off, talented young player in George Springer, leadoff hitter, but he does have 10 home runs on the year. And how about Carlos Correa getting started on his career? 10 games, already has 3 doubles, 3 home runs, and 7 RBIs. And it's Tucker, Gaddis, and Carter in the middle of the lineup. Domingo Santana just called up, already has a home run. He will hit 6 and play right field. Conger, Valbuena, and Gonzalez round out the 9 for Houston. Take a look at the numbers for Elias this year. 3-4 record, a 3.67 ERA, and 61 1/3. He has 45 strikeouts, 23 walks. Opponents hitting .259 against Elias. Now we'll take a look at the defensive setup brought to you by American Family Insurance. Seth Smith is in left field, Jackson in center, Trumbo out and right. Kyle Seager, good to have him back in the lineup. He will be at third base. Miller and Cano playing up the middle. Logan Morrison, the first baseman, and Mike Zunino will do the catching tonight. For Elias in his last outing against these Astros in Houston, it was a tough one. 3 1/3, 7 hits. Gave up 8 runs, 7 of them earned. 4 walks, a couple of strikeouts. He threw 92 pitches to get through 3 1/3.
How do you see the advantage going with that, Mike? One way or the other, back-to-back starts against the same team?
Well, I think typically, we talk about it all the time, I think the hitters have an advantage the more that they see a pitcher, but I don't think that they saw Elias at his best.
Springer lays into the first pitch. Smith can only watch it go. Well, not the start Elias was looking for. Springer has been red hot. A 12-game hitting streak. And the Astros right away lead it 1-0.
And we talked about it with Springer leading off against left-handers. That is his 11th home run on the season. Elias is trying to get settled in. First pitch strike. They're trying to go inside. Ends up in the middle of the plate. And he hits it out of the bullpen as you take a look at our Alaska Supermo and the swing by Springer as he squares that fastball up.
There is Correa. Correa, of course, the #1 overall pick back in 2012, the year Mike Zunino was taken 3rd overall by the Mariners. And he's behind 0-2.
For Elias, pretty good fastball. He'll be anywhere from 91 to 94 miles an hour. Mix in a changeup against the right-handers. Pretty good separation, 7-8 miles an hour difference on his changeup. Curveball, it'll be in the upper 70s.
Elias, 26 years old, out of Guantanamo, Cuba. Making his 40th career big league start. The Astros now, by the way, 98 home runs on the year, first of the big leagues. They entered tonight leading the Blue Jays and the Dodgers, tied for second most homers in baseball by 13. So the margin not that close. On the corner, strike 3 called. Correa out #1. You can take a look at the Astros offense entering today. And it's a pretty striking graphic in a number of ways, Mike. Mainly when you look at the difference between their batting average and then the home runs, the runs overall. The strikeouts are through the roof as well.
It's a young ball club, Aaron, and they definitely are going to get their swings in. They'll chase some pitches off the plate. You can definitely strike them out. You see the numbers right there, but they're going to be aggressive and try to hit the ball out of the ballpark.
Tucker retired routinely on the first pitch he sees, down #2.
They also have a lot of speed, so the problem is, Aaron, is pitching on the edges of the plate, not giving in the middle so that you don't get hurt by the home run, but you can't afford to walk them either, so it's a difficult lineup to work through.
It's odd because you think about the Tigers lineups of somewhat recent years when Lloyd McClendon was the hitting coach in Detroit, a team that bashed more home runs than anyone at one point and hardly ever stole any bases because as this pitch comes in and takes a bite out of Gaddis, a free pass with 2 outs. You just don't see a team that homers as much as the Astros do, steal as much as they do. And as A.J. Hinch told us earlier in the season, because of the strikeouts, he just can't rely on the home runs. So that's why they run, and yet the home runs seem to almost always be there.
But he can do that because they run at a pretty good clip. And again, They lead the American League in stolen bases. If it was a situation where they were getting thrown out or didn't have the ability to run, it makes it a little more difficult.
Carter on the first pitch. We're seeing a theme here. He singles to right field. That pushes Gaddis at his second.
Well, that's one of the things that I think everybody knows about Houston right now. This is the 11th game for the Mariners against Houston, and they are very aggressive on the fastball early in the count. And you can see this fastball 93 miles an hour. Again, it is down but in the middle of the plate. If you look at our Alaska Supermo and the swing by Carter.
Now Elias is on 8 pitches and he's facing the 6th batter in the lineup. Two on, 2 out. The Astros an early lead on Springer's leadoff homer. Domingo Santana, 22 years old, out of the Dominican Republic. Launched his first big league home run yesterday afternoon in Colorado. And he's behind 0-1. That was a pinch hit 3-run shot. Seems like the Astros just continue to have more and more young talent in the minor leagues. Santana acquired back in 2011 in the Hunter Pence deal with Philadelphia.
And you can see Elias now trying to make the adjustment, starting him off with a couple of changeups. First one for a strike, well off the plate with the second one. But he can also mix in his curveball if he wants to early in counts. You have to switch things up. You cannot just pump fastballs in there.
1-2.
One of the things we were talking about, Aaron, the other night when Felix was pitching, his ability to come out and maybe throw his fastball early if the team's going to be aggressive. One of the things that separates him, and just one of the things, but he's able to throw his breaking ball for a strike or use his changeup early. There you go.
Nice work by Elias on the edge. Santana caught looking, so a couple of punch outs for Elias, but Springer the leadoff home run, and through 1/2 inning the Astros won, and the Mariners coming up. Now this should be a fun one tonight. Star Wars night here at Safeco Field. Full cast of characters on hand for Game 1 against the Astros. And Mike, how about a look at Lloyd's lineup tonight?
Mariners starting lineup brought to you by Chevron. Logan Morrison going to lead things off. Then it'll be Jackson. What a month of June he is having. Cano, Cruz, Kyle Seager hitting 5th tonight. Broke his string, last night of 192 games. Kyle ill yesterday, did not play. Good to have him back in the lineup. Trumbo hitting 6th. Smith, Miller, and Zunino rounding out the 9 for Seattle. For McCullers on the year, 3-1 record, ERA right at 2. In 36 innings, he has 40 strikeouts. Opponents hitting just 172 against him.
You bring up the strikeouts. Most strikeouts through the first 6 starts of a career for any Astros pitcher in franchise history, as he starts Lomo out with ball 1. And his last start against the Mariners was kind of an odd one. 5 no-hit, scoreless innings, but it was pretty wild.
90 pitches to get through the 5 innings. But he has tremendous stuff as Logan pops this ball up.
And where is it? Who's got it? Falls in fair. Logan Morrison is gifted a single. And they could see a lot of confusion. Take another look at it.
Valbuena ends up getting turned around on this. He thought it was going to go towards foul territory. By the time he figures out where it's at, it's too late. Tucker, the left fielder, you can see him coming in late. So maybe one of those line drives that Logan hit early in the season that were out. So he gets one of them back right here as you look at our Alaska Super Bowl, and that ball falling in the outfield grass.
That brings it Austin Jackson. Jackson having a fine month, batting over 320.
For McCullers, good fastball. He'll be 94 to 97 miles an hour. It's a power curveball. Throws his curveball as hard as anybody in the American League. Well, we were talking about it, Aaron, with him in that start against Houston. We'd heard so much about him going into the start, and it's tough to knock anybody when they go 5 innings and don't give up a hit. But he also walked 4 batters, and he seemed to just have a tough time commanding the strike zone.
Two and one now to Jackson. Now you're right, the 4 walks were a season high. He hadn't walked anybody for 18 innings entering that start. And then walked 4 against the Mariners. Something a little unique tonight. Both these pitchers, Elias and McCullers. Lobo out. And Logan giving the international sign for review this. He thinks he's safe.
Well, I think he was caught getting his leader leaning towards second, and then he stumbled coming back into first, but he tried to reach to the back corner of the base with his left hand. Take a look at Carter as he tries to put the tag on him. And that looks like Logan was safe.
And he's able to crawl back in, it looks like.
You can see him leaning right there, leaning towards, and then slips a little bit coming back, takes his right hand away, and I think he's able to get his left hand on the corner of the back before he is tagged.
And they will review this. It's not pretty, but it looks like he gets the job done here.
Chris Carter, the first baseman for Houston. And that look right there on our Alaska Super Bowl, it certainly looks as if Logan had his hand on the corner. It didn't appear that it came off at all. Rick Gibson, the first base umpire tonight.
So an early call to New York here in game 1 of the series. George Springer led off for the first with a home run out to left center field. That's how we've reached an early on score of 1-0. Lomo looped a single into left and is hoping that he is ruled safe and that this is overturned.
I'll be curious, Aaron, to see the Astros in this series. It seems like we've seen, we talked about the 10 games. It seems like we've seen all 10 of them in Houston, but that hasn't been the case. They have played 3 here at Safeco. You take another look. But they are 9 games over 500 when they're at home. So I'll be curious to see how this series goes over the next 3 days.
Well, the Astros enter today, the only team in the American League with 40 wins. And as each week continues to roll on by, the Astros just look more and more for real. The only team with more wins in baseball, St. Louis, with 43. The Cardinals 43 and 23. And the Cardinals continue to get it done with injury after injury. And for whatever reason, this is taking a long time, and McCullers is having to stay warm, and the headsets come off. He's safe. So the Mariners keep a base runner. Lomo the tying run at first. And another move. Lomo a clean slide this time. But you know, Mike, it's interesting. Elias and McCullers, 2 starting pitchers tonight who are really just 3-pitch pitchers. You don't really think of a starting pitcher with 4, maybe even 5 pitches. But not the case. You mentioned the repertoire of McCullers, the 4-seamer, the changeup, and the curve. And really more than anything else, it has been that changeup that has been such a hard time. In fact, nobody's gotten a hit off the changeup as we see what he throws.
You see almost 36% of the time he will use that power curveball.
Full count to Jackson. Well, it's fair to call it a power curve. Its average velocity is right in the neighborhood of 84 to 85 miles an hour. Matt Harvey right now has the hardest curveball in baseball at 83 miles an hour and change. So it's right up there with Harvey's. Off the plate, ball 4. Leadoff single and a walk as we take a look at how that curveball stacks up.
You can see the average velocity 84.3 miles per hour, and the whip percentage at 40%, just over 40%. They're one of the better ones in baseball right now.
No surprise, Kershaw at the top. A single, a walk, and here comes Cano. Mariners have the tying run in scoring position to go ahead at first. Cano jumps out the first pitch. Gonzalez can't find the handle, and everybody's safe. No Jose Altuve tonight. He's been dinged up with a hamstring injury. So Gonzalez getting the start at second base. That's an error.
I'm not sure if he was going to try to turn 2 on this. It was not hit hard right off the end of the glove. And the Astros coming into this, one of the other things that they've done well is field. They were 4th in fielding coming in this game, but a couple of miscues here in the first inning. Great situation for the Mariners. Little pop-up by Logan Morrison that falls in for a base hit. And another good look. Our Alaska Supermo actually hits on the heel of his glove. And now that error.
And a visit out to the mound. Check in with young Lance McCullers, only 21 years old, out of Tampa, Florida. The other first-round pick for the Astros. And the same year, 2012, which they selected Carlos Correa #1 overall. Bags packed for Nelson Cruz. Strike 1. Borderline pitch.
See the breaking ball, though. He threw that at 87 miles an hour.
That's tough. Conger able to keep it in front of him. And this is when, with the type of movement that McCullers can get, bases loaded situation, you really want to have a catcher back there that can lay in front of one.
No, he has to have it because he likes to throw his curveball in any count, and typically when you do it and you throw it as hard as he does, he's going to bounce a number of them. So the catcher is going to have the ability to try to keep it in front of him.
Jason Castro not in the lineup tonight. Tough lefty on the mound at Elias, so it's Conger behind home. Lobo at third, Jackson at second, Cano at first. And it's a ball and 2 strikes.
Good fastball at 97 miles an hour. Let's take a look at the swing by Cruz in our Alaska Supermo. And he's a little bit late on the fastball. It's the first fastball he's seen. Again, starting him with the curveball first 2 pitches. So he'll have to turn it up a notch.
Now this is power on power. The 1-2 makes it 2-2. A golden opportunity early here for the Mariners against McCullers. Nobody out, bases packed. Full count.
We talked about it. 5 innings, 90 pitches for McCullers against the Mariners. Already 14 pitches and hasn't recorded an out.
A single, a walk, and then an error. The payoff pitch to Cruz. And we are all tied up. A bases loaded walk to second here in the first inning by McCullers. We're tied at 1.
42nd RBI for Cruz on the year.
Now Lomo looked to be a for sure out when he popped up to shallow left field, almost just beyond the infield dirt, but instead it fell. Some confusion between Tucker and Balbuena, and that run comes around to score. Bases loaded for Seager, and it's strike one.
Let's see what Kyle has done with the bases loaded in his career. .386 average with 3 grand slams, a couple of them this year. Astros have the shift on. Kyle thought that pitch was down, but it was right at the bottom of the strike zone.
Seager will step out for a moment behind 0-2. Jackson at third, Cano at second base. Cruz, the bases loaded, walk at first. Strikes him out. McCullers' first strikeout, and he gets it with the curveball. Seager down on 3 pitches.
Well, a couple of fastballs at 97, and then this breaking ball. We talked about the curveball and how hard he throws it.
And now well-placed double play. Ground ball rather gets McCullers out of the first inning with a twin killing, but now facing Trumbo. Bases full, 1 out. Trumbo 9 home runs with the Diamondbacks, looking for his first with the Mariners.
Aaron, as a hitter, it is so difficult to lay off of a breaking ball as hard as he is throwing it when you know he has 97 miles an hour. You have to get started early if you want to catch up to his fastball, and it's going. You're going to see a lot of check swings in this one tonight. Tough to lay off of the breaking ball.
1-1. Jackson walks. Cano reaching on the air. Cruz, the bases loaded walk, picked up the RBI. Prime chance here to take the lead early on. Big bounder. Correa, the young shortstop, only played at first. Trumbo is out, but Jackson scores, and the Mariners grab an early 2-1 lead.
Somebody on the fastball, 96 miles an hour, right at the top of the strike zone, and Trumbo ends up getting on top of it. Fortunately, it wasn't hit hard enough for the double play, but he'll pick up an RBI.
So Morrison in, Jackson in. Cano in at third base. Cruz down to second. And here is Smith. McCullers, a case of the reverse splits. Lefty's really struggling against McCullers so far this year, batting .121 against him. Righties, however, not faring all that much better in the grand scheme of things. One ball and 1 strike. Overall, opponents entering tonight batting just .172 against the young righty. Tonight marks only his 7th ever major league start. Never pitched in AAA. McCullers breezed through AA this year like a video game. 43 strikeouts over 29 innings. An ERA barely over half a run. Was called up to AAA, then before it could even make a start, was called to the big leagues. Smith ahead of the count, 3-1.
You can see on our EQC tracer all those pitches away. He's being very careful with Seth. Brad Miller waiting on deck.
25 pitches to get the first 2 outs tonight. The 3-1 and a strike. Looked like could have been ball 4.
Well, Seth didn't like it. You can see on the EQC tracer that pitch was off the plate away.
That would have been the 3rd walk in this first inning. Two on, 2 out. Check swing, and it goes around. Smith strikes out. McCullers 2 walks, 2 strikeouts, and 2 runs allowed. Smith goes around by just enough. We go to the top of the 2nd. Mariners have taken a 2-1 lead. Lorenzo Cain and the defending American League champion Kansas City Royals visit Seattle and the Mariners for a 3-game series beginning on Monday. The series has 2 chances for you to save with family ticket specials. For more information, just visit mariners.com. Now, Star Wars night at Safeco Field as we take a look at the standings in the American League Central and the defending American League champion Kansas City Royals, a 3-game lead over the surprising Minnesota Twins. As Hank Conger leads off the top of the 2nd with a strike. 0-2 quickly. Conger batting .222 on the season. Hitting 7th tonight for the Astros. The Astros had lost 7 in a row the last time the Mariners saw them. Then, since that point, they've rattled off 6 wins in their last 7 games, including 5 straight. What a beauty there from Elias. Boy, that's nasty. Strike out number 3 for Owenis, and a nice way to begin the top of the 2nd.
We talked about it with the Astros. All the offensive numbers. But the bad one is strikeouts. Already 3 strikeouts for Elias, and that was a good curveball. Like to see him gain some confidence in that pitch as he moves forward. Already thrown a few good changeups tonight. Located a couple of fastballs on the outside corner to Conger.
Now facing Valbuena, batting 8th. We talked about the oddities for the Astros offense so far this year, and look no further than their win yesterday in Colorado, 8-4 on getaway day, as they wrapped up their 2-2 interleague series with the Rockies. All 9 hitters for the Astros, including their starting pitcher Colin McHugh, picked up a hit. 0-2 quickly, and yet they struck out 17 times. They scored 8 runs, striking out 17 times. It's only the second time this year that a team has fanned that many times and won a game. The 0-2. The other time that happened, Pittsburgh, it happened within the last week actually, 1-0 over the Phillies when Cole Hamels struck out 12. Thought about going around, and he doesn't. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Luis Valbuena.
Only a couple of left-handers in the lineup for Houston. Obviously, Valbuena, one of them, Tucker the other. You will see Elias drop down to throw his breaking ball. He will also throw his fastball when he drops down to the lefties. 3 in a row. 8 batters face, 7 first pitch strikes for Elias.
Marlon Gonzalez on deck.
Talked about his last outing against Houston. Didn't go well. So far 21 pitches, 15 strikes. All good signs for him here early in the ball game.
Valbuena 16 home runs this season. That ties a career high. The 3-2 and on the hands.
He really has been an all or nothing. 16 home runs, Aaron, but he's hitting 185.
It has been complete boom or bust, and the Astros have a couple of hitters like that. Chris Carter, another. Kind of ride the wave with hitters like that. Again, the 3-2 from Elias, and he gets him. Elias 4 strikeouts, including the last 3 that he's faced.
You can see how important it is to change your speeds, throw your curveball. This is on a changeup. Take a look at our Alaska Supermo, 86 miles an hour. Able to get it to the outside corner there. You can good look at the circle change that he throws. I think for a young club, a club that strikes out a lot, if you can put it in the back of their mind that you have 3 pitches, you can throw them all for strikes. You'll slowly get them off of your fastball, at least maybe see some later swings on it.
Gonzalez, a switch hitter, looks at strike 1. It seems like the changeup this year has become a more dominant pitch from Elias. We knew that he had it last year. He used it in some big strikeout performances. But last season it seemed like the curveball was the dominating pitch as Elias gets an easy comebacker and a 1-2-3 inning spun by Roenis Elias. A couple of strikeouts and a ground out. We go to the bottom of the second. Mariners hold a 1-run lead. 2-1 lead, and Mike, having a look at the Astros starting defense in this one tonight.
Brought to you by American Family Insurance. Tucker is in left field. Springer can go get it out in center. Santana, the right fielder. Valbuena at third. Correa and Gonzalez playing up the middle. Chris Carter at first, and Hank Conger, former Angel, will do the catching tonight.
We saw some confusion earlier on the little bloop single hit by Lobo that looked like it would be a routine out. Like this one, Conger sheds the mask, and he's right there for out number 1. That'll bring in Mike Zunino.
Gonzalez helping the Mariners out. Ended up making an error. An error on a ground ball by Cano. That loaded up the bases.
And if there's a hurdle now for the Astros, it seems like how they can play defensively, maybe for not that long of a period of time, but another couple of weeks to around the All-Star break as Zunino climbs in. When you really think about the changes defensively for the Astros, Jake Marisnick plays on the disabled list today with a hamstring injury, which he suffered late in the game yesterday in Colorado. So Springer moves from right field into center field. A.J. Hinch has said that he prefers to have Springer in right, but he can get it like you said. So Springer's in center. Of course, Correa, the shortstop, is up. Jed Lowry on the disabled list with a finger injury until around the All-Star break. Ball and 2 strikes to Zunino.
Altuve dealing with a hamstring.
Right, and you can tell that he's about as day-to-day as they come, and they want to do everything they can to not put him on the disabled list.
And then if you're the Mariners, just continue to put pressure on him, Aaron. You get base runners out there and put pressure on that defense.
2-2.
Mariners doing a good job of that in the first inning.
You can see 97 on that last pitch from McCullers. Zunino, as that gets away from Conger, has a long throw, and it's out number 2. Third strikeout for Lance McCullers.
Off-speed pitch, 85 miles an hour. And again, we talked about 40 strikeouts in 36 innings for McCullers. It's so difficult to lay off of his changeup or his curveball when it's going to be in the dirt because of the good fastball.
And so that's 2 of the first 3 strikeouts for McCullers on the curve. The other on the fastball.
Waiting on Logan Morrison.
Oh, there we go. Mike Tamuro, the home plate umpire. Lobo in another galaxy maybe for a moment. Lobo scored in the first inning. Came home on the bases loaded walk, drawn by Nelson Cruz.
Astros have the shift on with Logan hitting.
It was so funny when you think back to spring training, the conversations with Lloyd McClendon, Austin Jackson, a leadoff hitter, Ricky Weeks. There was ideas of course, Ricky leading off with something that he had done so many times and done so successfully with the Brewers. And never did we think that Logan Morrison would be at the top of the lineup, but by and large he's performed very well leading off for the Mariners. And as he has said a number of times, he doesn't really treat it much differently at all, but the results have been there.
I talked to Logan about it. He said that he's not going to change anything, but things change as the season moves on, Aaron, and you have to make adjustments. And for Logan in the leadoff spot, I know going into yesterday's game, I think it was 283, higher on base percentage against right-handed hitters. He's trying to create opportunities.
It's caught looking there. The curve once again, 4th strikeout by McCullers, and the 3rd on that pitch. We go to the 3rd. Mariners on top. is brought to you by Delta Dental of Washington. You're in for lots of reasons with Delta Dental. By AM/PM, too much good stuff. And by Audi, truth in engineering. Beautiful look at Hood Canal. Mariners opening up this 3-game weekend series against the first place Houston Astros. As Springer jumps on the first pitch. Lomo tracking it. Out number 1.
Springer started the game off first pitch fastball from Elias and hit it out of the ballpark. This time Elias comes back with a pretty good changeup, gets him to pop it up.
Springer now a 12-game hitting streak with that home run earlier, so always nice to send him back to the dugout. Here comes Carlos Correa. What a start to his young big league career. Yesterday, Correa stole 3 bases against the Rockies, including stealing third base twice, and he became the youngest player to steal 3 bases since Ricky Henderson did it, and the second youngest in 100 years. The only players ever younger than Correa to steal 3 bases was Ricky Henderson and Ty Cobb, so pretty good company. Elias ahead of the count, 0-2. Watch out, Gary Pettis.
I think Elias wanted to bounce the curveball right there, ended up leaving it up.
Pettis has some speed, longtime base thief for the Angels.
Really good center fielder.
Gold Glove winner. High pop-up shallow right field. Morrison tiptoeing. He's called off. Cano for out number 2. That brings in Preston Tucker, former Florida Gator, so very good friends with Mike Zunino. These two hit in the same order for a number of years in Gainesville. Zunino would hit third, Tucker would hit fourth, or vice versa, depending on the game. But both have nothing but great things to say about one another. The 0-1 from Elias. Just gets a piece, 0-2. Tucker, a former 17-round draft pick by the Astros, and when he made his debut this year, he was the first draft pick of Jeff Luhnow, the general manager for the Astros, to make it to the big leagues. In fact, he was in the same draft as Carlos Correa, the man before him in the order, the number 1 pick in 2012, and the same draft as Lance McCullers, tonight's starting pitcher for the Astros. So you can see the youth movement has certainly arrived, and really fooled up on the timing there from Elias as he gets him with a stiff curveball. And for Roenis Elias, that is his 5th strikeout through 3 innings. We go to the home half. Mariners have a 2-1 lead. 3-game series. We take a look now at our Columbia Bank difference of the game. And Mike, 5 strikeouts already for Elias through 3 innings.
And a quick adjustment from him. He came out throwing his fastball. The Astros were very aggressive out of the gate, and then he started using his changeup, and now the curveball is in play. See that good curveball right on the outside corner. So as long as he continues to mix it up, and that's something that Mike Zunino is really good at. If he just stays with Mike, I think he's going to be in good shape, especially with the way that he's able to locate his fastball tonight, and he's consistently throwing first pitch strikes.
0-2 quickly on Jackson. McCullers threw 27 pitches in the first. He retired the side in order in the second. The 1-2 up the middle and right there to McCullers. Out number 1. That'll bring in Cano. Well, looking for a fun way to spend Father's Day. Hope you can join us at Safeco Field this Sunday as the Mariners take on the Astros, the series finale. The first 10,000 dads get a Mike Zunino barbecue apron courtesy of EQC. For tickets, all you have to do is go to mariners.com. 1 out, nobody on for Cano. Robinson reaching on an error by Gonzalez, the second baseman, back in the first inning. There comes a 2-0. And a strike to Cano. And Lloyd made it pretty cut and dry earlier today from inside his office, saying that for the Mariners to win, the Stars have to hit. Cano knows this very well. There's no real secret to it at this point. Lloyd has liked some of the swings he's seen recently from Robbie. Of course, out of the lineup last night with a sore back.
Makes everybody else's job so much easier when the guys in the middle of your lineup are consistently getting the job done, and it just trickles down to the rest of your lineup because they won't feel the pressure of what's going on here. So it is important.
Right side, Gonzalez able to get there, but all he does is knock it down. So Cano is aboard at first base. Infield single for Cano. And a 1-out base runner.
97-mile-an-hour fastball on the inside corner. Let's see how far over Gonzalez was expecting Cano to pull the ball. Had it in his glove for a second. Great look at our Alaska Supermo and the effort by Gonzalez.
In steps Cruz. Big swing and a miss for strike 1. Lloyd said last night after the game that really he wished in some ways that he had not played Cruz, who was very ill before the game. But credit to Nelson for getting it out, staying in the lineup when Seager, of course, very ill as well. Out of the lineup, Cano. You mentioned the back.
Well, Cruz had one of the few hits last night. He ended up 1 for 3. He's on base a couple of times. And with Cano and Seager already out of the lineup, and Cruz originally was in right field, he ended up DHing last night.
Yeah, so a lot of credit to Nelson for staying in there. And really, under normal circumstances, probably would not have played. And he's now ahead 3-1. Well, it's been a while since Nelson has gone deep. He woke up the Rays.
McCullers throwing 97. Let's see how far he can hit it. We tried.
Full count.
All right, now let's go.
Cano at first. And the 3-2. Left side and through. Base hit for Nelson Cruz. Cano to second. Tucker finds it in left. Cruz reaching for the second time. And that brings in Kyle Seager.
Well, this time he's able to get to the fastball. 96 miles an hour, finds a hole on the left side of the infield. So Nelson has been on base twice, including that hit. Already picked up an RBI.
What can you say, Mike? Just another night of the ballpark. Cano at second, Cruz at first. Seager takes a big rip at the first pitch. It's a strike.
That looked like the changeup. Kyle's first at bat. Saw some fastballs. Eventually, McCullers put him away with the curveball. This time he starts him off with a changeup at 91.
Which we really haven't seen that changeup very much.
Well, he's only thrown it a couple of times.
McCullers has not given up a hit on his changeup. That's a pitch that Alex Cobb taught him during an offseason in Florida. And it's kind of a hybrid of the Vulcan grip, the Star Trek sign. Not meaning to cross up our movies here tonight, but it's not your typical circle change when he throws it. Seager quickly disposed of the curve. That's the 5th strikeout for McCullers. 2 outs. And it brings in Trumbo. I'll stick around after the game for Mariners postgame presented by Delta Airlines. Happy you could join us tonight here from Safeco Field. Game 1 against Houston. Aaron Goldsmith, Mike Flowers, our entire Root Sports crew. Gorgeous night to be here at Safeco Field. Cano the infield single. Cruz the base hit to left. 2 on 2 out for Trumbo. An RBI ground out his last time up. That's some serious movement on 96.
Hit the ball.
And same pitch. This time a 95, and it's 0-2 quickly on Trumbo. But they have Rich Donnelly back coaching at third base. And to spend some time at the hospital in San Francisco. Was very much under the weather, but back and healthy. 2 on 2 out, the 0-2.
We were talking about it earlier in the game with Conger doing the catching tonight. Another curveball, 88 miles an hour in the other batter's box. Showing some quickness, being able to get out there and keep it in front of him.
McCullers just 21 years old. Now there it is again, 2-2. Again on 2-2. Ground ball, left side, it's through. Here comes Cano to third base, waved home, the throw. Cano's safe, and the Mariners take a 3-1 lead. Mark Trumbo, his second run batted in tonight.
for Mark, he kept trying to get to that fastball, chased a couple of them off the plate away, finally gets one that's probably middle away from him. We'll take a look at it. It's also elevated about belt high. Been surprised on a couple of high fastballs to him, as hard as McCullers is throwing, that he's been able to stay on top of it. Typically you'll see that ball in the air somewhere, but he'll pick up a base hit and a ribby.
Nice work by Trombone. First pitch strike to Smith. Cano coming right into your living room. Shift on for Smith.
That was the first base hit for the Mariners tonight with runners in scoring position. They're now 1 for 6.
Mariners scored 2 runs on just 1 hit in the first. That was a leadoff single by Lomo. Outside, 2-1. Now this has tied for the most runs that McCullers has given up in a start this year. Only other time, 3 runs over 7 innings on the road against the White Sox earlier this month. 2-2. Granted, only 6 starts entering tonight, but you just have not seen teams hang many crooked numbers on McCullers young in his career. In fact, he already has 1 complete game under his belt. That was against Baltimore, when he struck out 11 and allowed only 1 run. Well, he is getting some run support tonight. Mariners looking for more. Cruz at second, Trumbo at first. The count pushes full.
When you're looking at young pitchers, sometimes you have to wait and have a team see them for a second, third time. You mentioned the 3 earned runs that Chicago put on him. Well, Chicago had already faced him early, and they were able to do that. So some of these clubs, they'll slowly start to pick some things up and take advantage of it. That being said, McCullers' defense let him down in the first inning. Fortunately, the Mariners were able to take advantage of it.
Smith fights it, and what a snap there by Valbuena. Smith able to send it the opposite way, but Valbuena robs him of a base hit. But the Mariners add on another run, and through 3, the Mariners hold a 3-1 lead. The Astros, all kids receive a specially designed baseball cap courtesy of Aquafina. The cap is not available in stores, so make plans to be on hand right here at Safeco Field this Sunday, 1:10 the first pitch. Tickets, as always, at Mariners.com. Lance McCullers 2 walks, 5 strikeouts, but he's given up 3 runs, tying a season high. Mariners have been able to get to him as Evan Gattis leads things off in the Astros 4th. Elias with 5 early strikeouts. Gattis hit by the first pitch that came his way back in the first inning. He was stranded at second. Fastball strike, 1-1.
And for Elias, 13 batters faced 11 first pitch strikes. And right there you see the late swing on the fastball. Earlier in the game I think they would have been more on it, but even with Gattis, he missed with the changeup, but at least he showed him the changeup. So after that, 93-mile-an-hour fastball that he's throwing will speed up on the guys. And I think again mixing it up has been a big key for him so far.
Up the middle, Cano. Now number 1. 1 up, 1 down for Chris Carter. Fastball command is the key for any pitcher, but it seems like especially so for Elias. We know that he's had the different arm angles that Lloyd has worked so hard along with pitching coach Rick Waits to get him to find really one for the most part. Occasionally will drop down a little bit to a left-handed hitter with 2 strikes, but it seems like the more that he can command that fastball, the other 2 pitches just fall right in line.
Well, that is something that I spoke to Rick Waits about with Elias, and along those lines you just want to be able to repeat pitches, and to do that you talked about the arm slot, being able to throw out of the same window consistently, and that's something they've really worked hard on with Elias. But I think again he's not a guy that's going to consistently pitch on the edges of the plate, but I think he can get away. His fastball is good enough at 93 miles an hour. That's good enough if he's able to show that he can throw his breaking ball and his changeup for strikes. So you'll get a lot of swings like that. That pitch right there, middle in at 93, and a late swing by Carter. It's especially true at this level, Aaron, and I think for younger pitchers that's where it gets difficult for them, because in the minor leagues they probably get away with a lot more, and here you're trying to pitch off the edges. They'll wait you out. If they can eliminate a pitch, they certainly are going to try to do that, and they'll eliminate it because they'll watch you the first time through, and if you don't show them you have the ability to get a curveball over for a strike, then they won't even worry about the curveball anymore. They'll just take it every time it comes out of their hand. So Elias, that's been a big growth for him. And you mentioned it earlier in the game, his curveball compared to his changeup. His changeup has been a much better pitch for him, and that's an excellent curveball for a strike. So he's doing a really good job. He and Zunino are really working well together.
And strikeout number 6.
We'll take a look at it. Our Alaska Supermo, the 12-6 curveball. Late swing by Carter.
There's Santana. Santana 6'5", 225. Big swing and a miss. 1-1. Santana played in just a couple of games last year for the Astros. Two balls and a strike. Only 4 at-bats this season entering tonight. I mentioned the home run that he hit yesterday afternoon in Denver against the Rockies. Brad Miller gobbles it up for round number 3. Roenis Elias has retired the last 10 that he's faced as we go to the bottom of the 4th. Mariners holding a 2-run lead. unfortunately have gone the Mariners' way.
Well, after the Astros score a run in the first, this pop-up by Logan Morrison, the leadoff hitter, ends up falling in the outfield grass. This probably should have been caught. Valbuena getting turned around. And then with 2 runners on, Cano hits this ground ball out to second. Gonzalez can't handle it. That's an error. That'll load the bases up with nobody out. So the Mariners able to take advantage of a couple of miscues, and you can see this ground ball to Hopper finds a hole. Good break for the Mariners. So take a look at McCullers. Again, 21 years old. Doesn't back up home plate. Situation, Aaron, where he's probably not used to giving up runs early in a ball game and a little frustrated by it, but again, just 21.
Now, you're right. We mentioned his numbers in Double-A this year. 29 innings, a .62 earned run average. Then came right to the big leagues. A ball and a strike to Miller. To Gonzalez for round number 1. 1 up, 1 down. It brings in Mike Zunino. We mentioned that McCullers had learned that change up a little bit from Alex Cobb. He really has had the benefit of working with some exceptional pitchers in the big leagues, Cobb being one of them. The other, a former high school teammate on a traveling team, Jose Fernandez, a National League Rookie of the Year last season. Those two go way back. Zunino, a screaming foul ball for strike 1. In fact, McCullers and Fernandez share the same pitching coach. Orlando Chinea. They've worked out a lot together over the years. 0-2. Zunino struck out on that vicious curveball from McCullers, his last at bat. Comes in with the curve this time. It bounces it 1-2. Mariners 5-5 in their last 10, 30-37 overall this year. Back-to-back series splits with San Francisco. 2-2.
And McCullers has had to throw a lot of pitches. 73 pitches as he works here in the 4th. And his last outing against the Mariners, he went 5 innings and threw 90 pitches.
Curveball again. That's the 6th strikeout for McCullers. And it's 2 up, 2 down. That'll bring in Lomo. Logan a single, a run scored, and a strikeout tonight. Right there to Carter. And it's 3 up, 3 down for McCullers and company. And that wraps up 4 innings. We go to the 5th. Mariners have the lead 3-1. Baseball on Root Sports is brought to you by the Washington State Department of Labor and Industries. Hire smart and go to protectmyhome.net. By Vern Funk. Bad luck can hit anyone, insure with the 13th man. By BNSF Railway, sponsor of the BNSF Blast. And by Volkswagen. Hurry in and get a deal during the Volkswagen Stop Dreaming, Start Driving event. Another look at Hood Canal. Gorgeous night as Conger jumps on the first pitch and fouls it away sharply for strike one. Conger staying in the division after so many years with the Angels, a former first-round draft pick by Anaheim. 2 balls and a strike. The 2-1 coming. And Conger ahead of the count, 3-1. Count. Tonight, game 1 with the Astros. Weekend series before Kansas City comes to town. The 3-2. Seager scoops it up. Oh, right on line, Conger, out number 1. Well, as always, this copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Seattle Mariners and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Seattle Mariners. 1 up, 1 down for Luis Valbuena, a strikeout victim, back in the second. One thing that Rick Waite's Mariners pitching coach talks about all the time with Elias is the difference between movement and life on a pitch. And he says that movement is something that a pitcher tries to impart on each individual pitch, and life, and Rick's eyes kind of light up when he says life. Life is something that just happens once it leaves your hand, and he says Elias has life on his pitches.
That's why you can see him beat a lot of hitters with his fastball at 92, 93 miles an hour. Today's age, still a good fastball, but not a great fastball.
The 1-2. We heard Rick say last year that they didn't want to add a 4th pitch to the repertoire of Elias until he really could command the 3 that he has. But can a pitcher be successful long term? Does he need to add a 4th pitch? The 3 that he has are so good.
I will always say this: if they hit their spots and they mix it up like Elias is doing tonight, yes, you can get away with 3 pitches. You don't need the 4th one.
So far, so good. 7 strikeouts.
And again, mixing things up. We've shown you the circle change a number of times. And this is a good one. Throws it down below the hitting area. Valbuena with a couple of strikes out in front of it.
There's Gonzalez. Now Gonzalez, another boomer bust hitter at times this year for the Astros. His average beneath 220, but a dozen homers. And he's ahead of the count 2-0. Elias making start number 11 on the season tonight after beginning the season in Tacoma with the Rainiers. 2 outs, nobody on for the 2-0. To the gap in right center. Jackson having to move quickly. Jackson can't get there. It's over the fence for a ground rule double. And it snaps a string of a dozen in a row set down by Elias.
Well, Austin had to cover a lot of ground. Gonzalez gets a fastball up out over the plate, and this ball is slicing away from him. See it bounce off the warning track, just out of his reach.
It's not often that we say Jackson can't get there. Covers a lot of ground. 2 outs. Gonzalez at second, and a tie-in run at the plate, and a formidable one, and that in George Springer. Ball 1. Springer a home run in the first inning on the first pitch of the game. Number 11 on the year.
First pitch fastball, middle of the plate.
He wasted no time. Two outs. Gonzalez at second. Right of the back. That's a second hit batter today from Elias. He got Gaddis back in the first. Springer has to wear that one as Rick Waits will come out to have a chat.
One of the better fastballs we've seen from Elias, 94 miles an hour.
We take a look to our starting pitching matchup tomorrow. CenturyLink. What's next? This should be a fun one, Mike.
It'll be interesting. Keuchel, you're going to see a lot of ground balls from him. Likes to keep the ball down in the zone, and Taijuan Walker has really pitched well as of late. Of course, a power pitcher. Fastball in the mid-90s.
And on the pregame show tomorrow, we'll be talking about the All-Star balloting. Of course, Kansas City coming to town, so it seems a little topical. 2 outs, 2 on. Correa look at a first pitch strike.
And again, Elias starting him with the changeup.
Tie and run at first. Correa the go-ahead run. He's got pop. And he's behind 0-2. A fastball this time. Elias in a little bit of a jam for the first time in a while since the first inning. A peek at second and the 0-2. Hard hit liner but foul. Elias in the first. We mentioned the home run to Springer you saw just a few moments ago. Then with 2 outs he hit Gaddis, a single to Chris Carter, but then struck out Santana to end the Astros threat. And then it was a series of 12 in a row retired before the ground rule double by Gonzalez, and now the hit batter in George Springer. The 0-2. Jackson tracking it back a half step, and he's there to make the catch. Correa is out to center, and the Astros strand a pair. Elias able to wiggle out of things to go to the bottom of the 5th. Mariners by 2. Ichiro collecting career hit number 2,500, fourth fastest in big league history to reach that milestone. Ichiro just keeps racking up the hits. He's approaching 3,000 now in his career. About 2,800 and change. Ichiro now 41 years old, hitting .294 this year for the Fish in Miami. A ball and a strike to Jackson. Of course, A-Rod picking up career hit number 3,000 earlier tonight off of Justin Verlander with a home run. Jackson a walk and a run scored back in the first inning. It was a rough second half of the season for Austin after being traded to Seattle, and you kind of get the sense from Lloyd that this is the Austin Jackson that he remembers from Detroit.
Staying up into the middle of the field, hit the ball the other way, make the pitcher throw some pitches.
The opposite way with Carey. Santana to the warning track, and he's there with a basket catch.
And for Austin, he came into the game hitting .265 overall. 3 home runs. Take a look at his swing, able to get on top of the fastball. And slicing away from Santana, had to make a late adjustment.
First pitch to Cano. And a misses for ball 1. A little flick into right field for a base hit. Cano's second hit tonight. A 1-out single. Well, the next Coors Light Silver Bullet Saturday is tomorrow. The first 400 fans 21 and older in the pit during early happy hour receive a Silver Bullet Saturday t-shirt and extended happy hour pricing until first pitch. Plus, fans will have the opportunity to win a custom Coors Light Refresherator, tickets, and more.
Pretty good hitting by Cano. Change up, down out of the strike zone, was able to stay with it. Hit it hard into right field.
That brings in Cruz. Lloyd has talked about the somewhat recent power outage for Nelson Cruz. I mentioned the graphic earlier, not a home run since the one in Tampa Bay. But as Lloyd said, and we see this with every power hitter, it's the ebbs and flows of a season.
It's the way it works. That's why you really, I mean, for me, waiting for Trumbo to hit his first home run, you hope that he'll take off from there. Already a base hit, a couple of RBIs in this one tonight. But that's typically the way it works for power hitters. I think one of the differences is with Cruz, it's for an average.
Yeah.
There's a look at Mark.
Nelson batting nearly .310 entering tonight.
Trumbo 1 for 2 with a couple of RBIs.
Way outside. And a 4-pitch walk to Cruz. So with 1 out, the Mariners have 2 on for Kyle Seager. Cruz has reached all 3 times. And here comes Brent Strom, the pitching coach.
For McCullers now 86 pitches. Again, he threw 90 pitches to get through 5 in Houston.
And the bullpen will start to be activated for the Astros. Right-handed Harris warming up. Will Harris, what a tremendous season it has been for Harris, and very much under the radar. Opponents hitting under 100 against Harris this year. A long chat here as Mike DeMuro, the home plate umpire, coming out to break things up. A.J. Hinch looking on his first year as the Astros skipper, and things certainly going well for Hinch. Was the interim general manager last year for the San Diego Padres. A very young manager with the Diamondbacks, taking over for Bob Melvin. All-American at Stanford. Cano at second base, Cruz at first, and a chance here for Seager, who was struck out twice on that curveball. And there it is to begin things for strike one. The shift on for Seager. Hard hit through the shift through the right side. Cano steams into third. Santana a throw to third base. Cano scores standing and safe at third base. Nelson Cruz. Kyle Seager's first hit tonight. He makes it 4-1 Mariners.
We're talking about Kyle, and McCullers able to put him away with the curveball. Starts him with the curveball, but he gets a fastball. 96 miles an hour right on the inside corner, and Kyle just drops the barrel to it. Hits it right through the shift. And a good slide by Cruz as he goes into third. Santana showing a strong throwing arm out and right. And with that base hit, A.J. Hinch going to make a change.
Kyle Seager has knocked Lance McCullers out of the ballgame tonight. Less than 90 pitches for McCullers, who has given up a career high 4 runs. It's out of the bullpen, and Will Harris. Make a donation to Mariners Care for every Mariners win. Buy Jack in the Box. Taste the new black pepper cheeseburger today only at Jack in the Box. By Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. And by CenturyLink, your link to what's next. Now the Mariners have tagged Lance McCullers for a season high 4 runs. And they've knocked him out of the ball game. Now having to talk things over with A.J. Hinch.
And for McCullers, 4 1/3, 6 hits, 4 runs, only 2 of them earned. He did walk 3 batters, had 6 strikeouts, 88 pitches, 57 of those for strikes. He's responsible for the 2 base runners. Cruz at third, Seager at first. And for Will Harris, his 26th appearance on the year, 3-0 record, .87 ERA. Look at that opponent's average against. .099. 36 strikeouts in the 31 innings that he has worked.
Harris inheriting a couple of base runners. Cruz at third. And Seager, who just drove in Cano. Seager at first base. First pitch on the way to Trumbo, missing for ball 1. Well, Harris has been about as good as they come out of any bullpen so far this year. He's allowed only 1 inherited runner to score all season. And he's inherited 12 over the course of the season so far. The 1-0 to Trumbo. And a strike to make it 1-1. In fact, the only 3 runs that Harris has allowed this year have come on 3 solo homers. That's been it. 3 runs over 31 innings, spanning 25 appearances. Reaching for a fastball. It's 1-2. To put it in context, if you look at relievers in the big leagues this year with at least 30 innings pitched who have allowed 3 runs or fewer, it's Will Harris and Trevor Rosenthal, the closer, who throws 100 for the Cardinals, and that's it. Around late, and it's still 1-2.
Harris doesn't throw 100, but he will paint his cutter on the outside corner to right-handers. He's tough, and you see that last pitch right on the outside corner, and Trumbo barely getting a piece of it.
Harris gets fantastic natural cut to that fastball, and this is a righty who was on the bubble in spring training. Did not really have a terrific spring for the Astros, but made the club. The 1-2 to Trumbo. Little squibber. Gonzalez is there to find it out at first base. Trumbo is out, but he drives in his 3rd run. 5-1 Mariners. Trumbo entered tonight with 1 run batted in as a Mariner, and he's got 3 tonight.
What he's been able to do is put the ball in play. You have a runner at third, less than 2 outs. Put the ball in play. Picked up a couple of RBIs that way. He did have a base hit to drive in a run.
Cruz scoring after he walked. Seager in at second.
With Smith hitting, the Astros will put the shift on again.
And Mike, the key words that you said there, putting the ball in play with less than 2 outs, that goes to the argument of, well, a strikeout is just like any other out. And teams that strike out a ton, sometimes you hear people say, well, a strikeout is no different than a ground ball out or a fly ball out. But in this case, there's a big difference between a strikeout in that instance versus a ground ball on the right side.
Well, there's a lot of advantages to put the ball in play. It's that right there, which is a big one because it gives you a run. But even earlier in the ball game, Cano putting the ball in play, they make an error. You have the bases loaded with nobody out. Just keeps things moving along. So, although in this age of baseball, and it's not the Mariners, it's throughout the game, strikeouts are commonplace and acceptable for the most part.
I talked about it earlier. The Astros struck out 17 times yesterday. And you bring up a great point about the error, because anytime you put the ball in play, you now force the defense to make a play.
And nobody's perfect.
Nobody's perfect. Seager, the lone base runner. And Smith ahead of the count, 3-1. So that was only the 2nd inherited runner that Will Harris has allowed to score this year. And the first since May 18th. High fly ball, playable. Santana giving way. Springer in, and the catch. That'll do it for the Mariners in the 5th, but 2 more runs come in, and through 5 innings, the Mariners have 5 runs and the lead. Tucker leading things off for the Astros. This pitch fouled straight back. Looked like Tucker wanted something for his bat there, but it'll stay put. Nice curve to make it 0-2.
And you can see Elias, two left-handers, doing a really good job of changing his arm angles to him. Well, tonight he's throwing his breaking ball a lot more often than his fastball when it's dropped down. That was a changeup.
Activity inside the Astros bullpen. We just saw Harris, and now Hernandez warming up.
Roberto Hernandez, part of the rotation at the start of the year. Now the long guy out of the pen.
Yeah, the Astros rotation has become pretty young. Of course, we talked about McCullers, 21 years old, getting the start tonight and knocked out in the 5th. 2-2, cut on and missed. He dazzles him with the curve, and for Elias, that is strikeout number 8. It ties a season high.
Just a well-located breaking ball, drop down. See the breaking ball, throws it just off the outside corner. Tucker, the left-handed hitter, pulls off of this pitch. And another strikeout for Elias.
Now the conversation ongoing with Lance McCullers, the starter tonight, as Gaddis lays into one, but Jackson has it set in his sights for round number 2. You can see pitching coach Brent Strom in a pretty focused conversation with McCullers.
Well, he's talented. There's no question about that. His fastball at 97 miles an hour today, but he's also really young, just 21. And as you mentioned, Aaron, called up from Double-A.
We'll see Vince Velasquez on Sunday, opposed by Jay Happ. Velasquez has made only a handful of big league starts. Another youngster in the Astros rotation. 2 outs, nobody on. And strike 1 to Carter. A lot of strikeouts for Carter. He entered tonight, tied for the most in baseball with Giancarlo Stanton at 88. And he's behind 0-2. The 0-2 from Elias. Looked like it might have been close, but instead a ball and 2 strikes. It dropped straight down. Elias shaking a couple of times, now nods. Now Seager and Miller very deep on the left side of the infield. Carter very pull happy. The 2-2, and he gets him swinging. Elias finishes him up with the fastball. And for Roenis Elias, a season high 9 strikeouts and only 1 run over the first 6 innings. Well, follow the Mariners wherever you are with MLB.com at bat, the #1 app for live baseball. At bat is up to the moment, at any moment with in-game highlights, live look-ins, replay reviews, radio broadcasts, the new StatCast, and more. Get MLB.com at bat for your smartphone or for your tablet. Gorgeous night here in downtown Seattle. Game 1 against the Astros, and things going very well so far tonight for the Mariners. 2 runs in the first, a run in the third, 2 runs in the fifth, and Mike, a new pitcher, the third pitcher tonight for A.J. Hinch. And went McCullers and then Harris. And now the former starter, as you mentioned a few moments ago, Roberto Hernandez, taking over the mound duties for the Astros to begin things in the bottom of the 6th inning.
For Hernandez, his 13th appearance, 2-5 record, a 4.89 ERA. 70 innings pitched. Again, he was in the starting rotation earlier this year. 36 strikeouts, 20 walks. Opponents hitting .288, and he's given up 9 home runs this year.
He'll face Brad Miller right away. And he starts him off with ball 1.
For Hernandez, he'll move the ball around, change speeds. Used to be a real power pitcher when he was with the Indians. In the mid-90s with his fastball, that's not the case anymore.
Now the split's really even this year on Hernandez. Overall, opponents have really tagged him, batting nearly .290 against Hernandez this season. And the command has not been great. You saw the walks and the strikeouts. Miller ahead quickly, 3-0. Zunino on deck. Outside, a 4-pitch walk to begin things. Leadoff man reaches, it brings in Mike Zunino. Zunino, a couple of strikeouts tonight. The wind really picking up inside Safeco Field, blowing in.
One of the rare shifts you'll see with a right-handed hitter. And Houston seemed to shift quite a bit.
We will see Dallas Keuchel tomorrow in Game 2. We will not see Colin McHugh. McHugh pitched yesterday in Colorado. The 2 pitchers that were shifted the most behind last season, Keuchel and McHugh. No surprise, both for the Astros.
I think a big part of it is you're relying on your pitcher to hit their locations and stay with whatever your scouting report is, and that's why you're placing your defense there because of the trends of the hitter, and Keuchel is really good at that.
Keuchel won American League Pitcher of the Month in April. He won American League Pitcher of the Month in May. Not many pitching better. Sonny Gray leading baseball in the ERA. Runner taking off, swing and a miss. Miller headlong slide, and he's in there safe. The hit and run on Miller. Successful with the steal, his 6th this season. Brad doing a nice job keeping his hand on the bag. As you can see, the glove was right there from Gonzalez, and then Casey came off. So man in scoring position for Zunino. Mariners by 4. And Mike down on strikes. Well, change your commute. Take our online trip planner for a spin at soundtransit.org. What a night it's been for Roenis Elias. 9 strikeouts. He's 1 shy of a career high 10 when he punched out 10 Yankees last May.
He's in good shape with his pitch count, just 80 pitches.
Strike one to Lomo. The first inning was so odd for Elias tonight. The leadoff home run on the first pitch by Springer. He faced 6 batters, but really didn't throw that many pitches because he either hit a batter on the first pitch or they swung at the first pitch.
They were very aggressive out of the gates on him, and again, it was a nice adjustment that he and Mike Zunino made. Start throwing his off-speed pitches a little bit more, mixing in his curveball, trying to get the Astros off of his fastball, and it has worked. Mariners tonight 2 for 11 with runners in scoring position.
One ball and 1 strike. Miller the walk and then the steal. He's at second. Off the plate to make it 2-1. Entering tonight, the only bullpen with a better earned run average in baseball than the Astros, Kansas City. We'll see the Royals next. But the Royals bullpen did not give up an earned run until the second month of the season. 2-2.
And they have some power arms out in their bullpen.
I'll see it soon enough. Astros bullpen. Luke Gregerson, their closer, 17 for 19 safe tries this year. But that has been maybe the most startling turnaround for the Astros this season individually. The bullpen to center field. Springer moving back. Springer still moving back, curling over, and he makes the catch. Miller tags, and he's able to get into third base standing. Now Morrison gave it a poke, but he's allowed out number 2.
And we're talking about Springer at the beginning of the game in center field. Typically plays right field. Oriznik on the disabled list, so he moves to center, but he covers a lot of ground. This ball slicing away from him ended up being a fairly easy catch.
Two outs. Miller now at third base. And it brings in Austin Jackson. Jackson flew out the opposite way out of the warning track in right field back in the 5th. On that last at bat for Jackson, with the way that ball was slicing, it kept carrying. You thought maybe it would have a chance to get above the yellow line, but more than that, you wondered if Santana would be able to get there in time and make the catch.
We talked about it, the wind blowing straight in. I think it caused some problems for Santana in right, because once the wind knocked it down, it started moving it towards the line, and he had to make an adjustment with the basket catch. I'm not sure if he's a Willie Mays fan or not. I think he was doing that just because he had no other choice.
2 outs. Miller at third. Little chopper, third base. The scoop Valbuena for out number 3. Miller stranded at third base, and that'll wrap up 6 innings. But through 6, the Mariners lead it 5-1. look at Hood Canal. Gorgeous weather for this weekend series against the Houston Astros in first place with 40 wins. But the Mariners leading the Astros right now as we go to the top of the 7th. And Roenis Elias back up on the mound. What a night it has been for Roenis Elias, 26 years old, out of Guantanamo, Cuba. And he starts Santana off with the strike. One and one. The next strikeout for Elias will tie a career high. Already has a season high with 9. 1 and 2. Santana a strikeout looking back in the first inning. The 1-2 pitch. Swing and a miss for strike 3. 10 punch outs for Roenis Elias tonight against the Astros. And he ties a career best.
And again, mixing it up. Starts him with the changeup, a couple of fastballs, and a good look in our Alaska Supermo, and the curveball from Elias. 4 pitches, able to get the strikeout.
Now facing Hank Conger. Elias threw that gem last year, May the 1st, at Yankee Stadium. 7 innings, 2 runs, and 10 punch-outs against the Yankees. The 0-1. That's the last time that Roenis struck out 10. In fact, he becomes the first pitcher not named Felix Hernandez to strike out 10 batters this year for the Mariners. Felix has done it twice. This is hammered high to the alleyway in left center. Jackson moving over. Watch out. Seth Smith is right there to make the catch.
That is a tough play for the outfielders. Good communication on that fly ball. It was hit off towards the end of the bat. Take a look at Seth Smith. Sticks his hand out. I think that was the difference for Austin Jackson to let him know. And you can see him calling the ball all the way. Austin, having to make a decision, decides to give some ground away. And good communication.
Well done for out number 2. Here's Valbuena. We really just haven't seen many pitches from Elias barreled up tonight. And the first, you had the home run by Springer to begin things. Carter single. Gonzalez hit a ground rule double well to right center. That's been about it. Only 3 hits. And a routine pop-up. Cano has it set in his sights, and there is out number 3. 7 strong innings for Roenis Elias with 10 punch-outs along the way. The Mariners lead it by 4 as we go to the stretch. Your body, how about stretching your mind as you consider how a Washington's lottery win would change your bucket list? Play today. Now the sights of Star Wars night here at Safeco Field. Star Wars themed fireworks show following the game. The Moose is even decked out. We will carry the post-game fireworks show. The Mariners post-game presented by Delta Airlines. Hernandez back out there to work the 7th. Cano, Cruz, and Seager. Robbie tonight, a couple of runs scored, 2 singles. Drops in fair, it bangs off the wall. Santana plays the carom, and it's a 3-hit night for Robinson Cano. His latest, a double to begin the bottom of the 7th.
Well, this would be a good time for him to get hot. Have a big weekend, off to a good start with his 3rd hit. Off speed pitch, 84 miles an hour. Hits his ball hard down into the corner. Barrels it up. Good looking swing.
That's good to see. Cano at second base for Nelson Cruz. Cruz has reached all 3 times. If you go back to a recent game the Mariners played against the Astros in Houston, when they really got to call them McHugh, they knocked him out after 3 innings. Strike 1. 8 runs, 9 hits over 3. The Mariners a 5-run first, a 3-run third. Lloyd was not very happy after that game, despite an 8-1 win, because Lloyd really wanted to see the offense keep pouring it on, continue to hit him. And really after the 3rd, it was slim pickings for the Mariners. That has not been the case tonight.
Really kind of a strange look to the Mariners in the 5 runs that they have there. And I have them 2 for 13 with runners in scoring position. But they picked up a run with a bases loaded walk, a couple of ground outs by Trumbo with a runner on 3rd, less than 2 outs. Has picked up a couple of runs. So taking care of the opportunities that they've been given. But still just, and they haven't hit a home run. 2 for 13.
Yeah, a power hitter like Trumbo, when's the last time that he picked up 2 runs batted in the same game on balls that didn't leave the infield and resulted in an out?
Well, let's give him credit. He also has 1 of the 2 hits with a runner in scoring position. He picked up an RBI there. Trumbo with 3 RBIs in the game.
But really it goes back to the point you made earlier. A mature veteran hitter and the proper approach for what the game dictates and what the situation is, and we saw that from Trumbo a number of times tonight.
Kyle Seager has 1 of the base hits himself. Base hit to drive in a run.
Cruz a pitch away from walking for the 3rd time. Instead, a line drive up the middle for a base hit. Cano gets the stop sign at 3rd. Nelson Cruz has reached all 4 times, 2 singles, 2 walks. 2 on, nobody out. As we take a look at our Delta Airlines keep climbing standings. Entering tonight, the Astros at top of the West, or the Rangers. They've really turned things around since a brutal month of April. And for a long time now, the Angels playing right around 500. Angels winning last night against Arizona.
Well, the Astros will put the shift on again with Kyle hitting. They had it on his last time up, but he was able to hit the ball hard enough to get it through the shift.
Strike 1. Mariners knocked McCullers out of this ball game in the 5th. He went 4 1/3. Gave up a season-high 4 runs. Walked 3, struck out 6. Then it was Will Harris. Now Roberto Hernandez. The 0-1. And to shallow left field. Here comes Tucker. And he's there to make the catch. And so shallow that Cano has to stay put. That's out number 1.
Trumbo now with an opportunity to have a big night. He's having a real good night. 3 RBIs for him, but a chance again to drive in another run with Cano at 3rd, just 1 out.
We were looking at the standings a moment ago. The Angels, Albert Pujols, a grand slam. The Angels have taken a 9-7 lead over the A's at the top of the 7th. For Pujols, that is now his 9th homer this month. That's the most in the American League. He leads the league now with 20. Trumbo fishing on the first pitch for strike 1. And it's 0-2.
Yeah, he's not happy right now. He had a mistake. Elevated for him, middle in.
Trumbo entered tonight with 1 RBI as a Seattle Mariner. He now has 4. The 0-2, a squibber to 3rd. Valbuena on his 2nd for 1, on to 1st, and it's in time for the double play. And that'll win the 7th. They go around the horn. We go to the 8th inning. Gorgeous night from Safeco Field. Mariners lead it 5-1. History made tonight. Here's a screamer but foul. Leah's back in there to work the 8th. One of the most surprising things this year in baseball, I think, Mike, has been the complete PR turnaround for Alex Rodriguez, a man who was a villain last year, and of course in some parts of the country still very much so, but has been completely beloved by the fan base in New York. And it goes to show you, if you play well, everything is forgiven.
Yeah, and he is. I think 3,000 hits on a home run. I know Wade Boggs did. I think those are the only two to get their 3,000th hit with a home run. Oh, excuse me. Now I'm reminded Jeter, another Yankee.
But few and far between is the point.
No, not many. Mark Lowe getting loose in the pen for the Mariners. Or Elias. Since the first inning, Houston's had one base runner at second base. One. Wow. That's how good he has been.
Still 0-2. The best hit for 3,000 maybe still Paul Molitor's triple. I mean, that's close to impossible. I look forward to the day when somebody gets 3,000 by actually hitting the infielder, or pardon me, hitting the base runner, and then getting credit for a base hit, and then that's number 3,000. Runner going first to second, a quick ground ball gets him right to the ankles and pop the champagne. There's number 3,000. The 0-2 just missing low. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
For Elias, now at 95 pitches. He's only been over 100 a couple of times. One of his first 2 starts, 105 and 103.
To left center, Austin Jackson watches this go over the fence. Gonzalez with some pop until the Astros begin the top of the 8th. Still a 3-run lead for the Mariners.
And he gets a fastball in the middle of the plate and elevated. 91 miles an hour. And Lloyd McClendon quickly out of the dugout.
So that's going to be it for Roenis Elias, who ties a career high tonight with 10 strikeouts. And this should be a nice ovation for the 26-year-old lefty Roenis Elias. A fantastic outing tonight for the Mariners starting pitcher. Elias.
He was outstanding this evening. Gave up a couple of runs, 2 solo home runs. But after the first inning, just dominant stuff. And I love the way he was able to mix in his changeup. Started to throw his curveball more. Was able to get some strikeouts with that pitch. A lot of first pitch strikes for him tonight. Consistently working ahead of hitters and keeping them off balance, which is a big key when you're facing Houston. Again, the #1 home run team in the American League. The thing that I like, we talked about it, the season high, 10 strikeouts for him, did not walk a batter. Outstanding.
Tremendous
will take over. Yes, it was.
Lowe facing George Springer right away.
Here's the line for Elias. 7+, 4 hits, couple of runs again, 2 solo homers, 10 strikeouts, 96 pitches, 67 of them 4 strikes.
A strike poured in to make it 1-1.
For Mark Lowe, his 19th appearance on the year. He's really pitched well. 0.92 ERA, 21 strikeouts, over 19 at 2/3. Opponent's hitting just 214 off of Mark. Good fastball in the mid-90s, hard slider.
And he's ahead of the count, 1-2.
Well located fastball at 95 miles an hour.
Big swing and a miss there. Breaking ball from Lowe. And Springer nearly takes a tumble. Out number 1.
After the fastball away goes back to the slider. 86 miles an hour. Right on the outside corner.
Now Springer was not going to be cheated. That's for sure. That brings in Carlos Correa.
Charlie Furbush getting loose in the pen.
We were talking about Correa earlier tonight, the 3 steals in last night's game or yesterday's game for the Astros, and the youngest since Ricky Henderson. It made you wonder the most steals that Ricky, I know a former teammate of yours, Mike, had in a game. And at one point, Ricky Henderson stole 5 bags in one game, as this goes right to Cano. And that was a game against the Mariners and Randy Johnson pitching. And I can only imagine what Randy was like in that game, because Ricky Henderson, who stole 5 bases, did not have an official at bat. He was walked 4 times and he stole 5 bases. Can't imagine the big unit was, well, he was probably pretty surly.
Did he score?
Oh, I'm sure he did.
Because that's the thing that would irritate him the most.
In one sequence, he stole 2nd and 3rd, which is how he has more steals than he had actual trips inside the batter's box. 2 outs, nobody on. Tucker, it's a foul ball, just barely strike 1.
Good play by the fan down there at his glove.
And as Ricky would say, I'm the greatest of all time. He is thrilled, and he should be. One and one. Count, a fastball to 95. Full house tonight, over 40,000, nearly 41,000 strong, in fact. Comes home on 1-2. Swing and a miss for strike 3. Blew it past him. Some high octane 97 from Mark Lowe. And that'll put a bow on the top of the 8th. We go to the home half. Mariners by 3. as Seth Smith will lead things off in the bottom of the 8th inning. Roberto Hernandez back up on the mound for the Astros. No surprise, Carson Smith, speaking to the right-hander from Texas, warming up. The Mariners a 3-run lead. And if things stay put, good chance we will, of course, see Carson in the top of the 9th.
Carson pitching the other day. It was good to see his fastball at 96 miles an hour. Through a little bit of a time there where he was more 93, 94, but he had a dominant fastball his last outing.
Right back to Hernandez. Out number 1. Well, join the most regal section in baseball, of course, talking about the King's Court, when Felix and the Mariners go head-to-head with the Kansas City Royals Monday night right here at Safeco Field at 7:10. $30 will land you a seat in this section, a King's Court t-shirt, and as always, a K-card. So come on and cheer the King when you get tickets at mariners.com/Felix. Felix brilliant the other night as Miller jumps on the first pitch. Skies it out to Springer, but it's there for out number 2. Now tomorrow night, game 2, the middle game of this 3-game series against the first place Houston Astros, and we're really looking forward to this pitching matchup. We take a look at the CenturyLink. What's next? Dallas Keuchel, the ground ball specialist, against Taijuan Walker, bringing the heat lately, and his last 4 starts have been just off the charts good.
Taijuan's numbers get better and better every time that he goes out there.
And for Taijuan, the recipe to success has not been a very complicated one. It's been the fastball, and some more fastball.
Pitch inside.
That's a good part of it, too. 1-1 to Zunino. The Mariners 2 runs in the first, a run in the third, another 2 in the 5th. When we go to the 9th, it'll be the middle 3 due up for the Astros: Gaddis, Carter, and Santana. Chopper, Balbuena at third, and that'll be it for the Mariners in the bottom of the 8th inning. 1-2-3. The Mariners sat down in order for the first time since the 4th. Carson Smith coming on. Mariners lead it by 3. Then you can shop the Mariners team store Father's Day sale to pick up a great gift for dad. Enjoy 30% off select caps and apparel, as well as 20% off autographed memorabilia. Swing by one of the 5 Mariners team stores and find the perfect gift for Father's Day. 5-2. Mariners have the lead. Top of the 9th inning. The Astros down to their final 3 outs to grab 3 runs and some changes defensively for the Mariners. Ackley is in left, taking over for Seth Smith. Carson Smith up on the mound, facing the middle 3 of the order, and he starts Gaddis off with a strike.
For Carson Smith, his 30th appearance on the year, 1.65 ERA, 33 strikeouts over the 27 1/3 that he has pitched. Opponents hitting just 165 against him.
Fastball missing to make it 1-1.
Good fastballs, both of them 95 miles an hour.
Shattered bat, watch out. That has about 100 revolutions out to Brad Miller. And it's out number 1. Add that to a scrap pile.
This is just a saw blade right on his hands.
Duck for cover.
Oh. At what point the barrel of the bat is moving quicker than the ball is.
There's Chris Carter. Strike 1. James Jones taking over for Trumbo in right field. So Ackley in left, Jackson in center, Jones in right. Seager scoops it up. Out number 2. Carson Smith and out away from save number 4.
Rasmus is going to pinch hit for Santana.
Rasmus just off the bereavement list. His grandmother passing away, returned home to Alabama, but now back with the club. Smith's last save of the 1-out variety, this time needing to get all 3. He tag team with Charlie Furbush. 2 outs, nobody on. 2 strikes. $40,914 inside Safeco Field tonight. The 1-2, and it gets away from Zunino. 2-2. A.J. Hinch looking on, the manager of the Astros. Smith's 2-2 off the plate. Three balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, nobody on. Rasmus pinch hitting for Santana. The 3-2. Strike 3 called. He gets him with a fastball. The Mariners take game 1 against the first place Houston Astros. 5-2 the final score.
What an evening for Elias. He was just terrific. 7+ for him. Did not walk a batter. Had 10 strikeouts. That is a season high for him, and Mark Trumbo driving in 3 runs. A good sign for the Mariners, get him going. How about Robinson Cano with 3 hits, including a double his last time up? A lot of good things for the Mariners starting this big series against the Astros here over the weekend.
And this was really good to see the Mariners. This game tonight gets started off on the right note. First pitch of the ball game, George Springer blasts into the bullpen in left center field. But then that was about it that Elias gave up, and the Mariners offense was able to chip away.
It was one of the more impressive things with Elias. The Astros were very aggressive in the first inning off him. You mentioned the home run. But then after that, started to use his changeup, and then his curveball came alive, and he was outstanding, being able to throw all those pitches for strikes, consistently working ahead. A lot of first pitch strikes from him tonight.
10 strikeouts for Elias as we take a look at his line. Ties a career high. He's the first Mariners pitcher outside of Felix with a 10 strikeout start this year. And he was absolutely brilliant against the Astros, a team that, as we mentioned earlier, the Astros have seen him a lot. 5th career start against Houston and his 2nd in a row, the 3rd this season. And of course, Carson Smith on to pick up save number 4 of the season, and he did it in 1-2-3 order.
Dominant by the bullpen. Lowe came in, then it's Carson Smith between the 2 of them over the 2 innings. 3 strikeouts, both of them with great stuff. Lowe's topping out at 97. Carson again at 95 miles an hour.
Good stuff here tonight. The Mariners take game 1 against the Houston Astros. Mariners postgame presented by Delta Airlines starts right now with Jen Mueller.
Well, Mark Trumbo responsible.